Yeah, we started focusing on lead gen from the beginning of May and already generated about 400K of deals.
This is Niels. He's a founder who built a $50,000 per month service business in just 6 months with one marketing strategy. But the coolest part is that he basically started selling his services without actually selling them. He found a cheat code that helps solo entrepreneurs get clients without doing sales. I brought Niels onto the channel to break down his playbook that helped him grow to $50,000 a month. In this episode, we will dive into what everyone gets wrong about sales and lead generation, his playbook on how to do sales without sales, and his secret partnership growing framework. Let's go.
My name is Niels Blonk, co-founder and CEO of Ramen AI. We do AI automation and we build AI tools. And we are currently at an MRR of around 50K and it's growing.
Hey Niels, welcome to the channel. How did you come up with your startup idea?
We started first with another company actually. It's me and my co-founder. We run Ramen AI, and before we had a company that was called Funnel Supply. We're actually still doing some clients there. And that was into marketing automation. So we built full automated marketing funnels for companies. So that goes from the ad management into a landing page, into a CRM, into email automation, nurturing, like the whole funnel, but everything, all the steps, all automated, connected to each other. So that was already kind of close to what we're doing now, right? It's also workflow automation, but it was still without AI, of course. So then at some point, the AI boom came. I mean, ChatGPT came out. Of course, there was some AI before that as well. But then the Gen AI hype came up. So we figured we need to do something with this, right? We need to jump fully into it. And we had technical background, commercial background, marketing background, right? So we figured let's give it a try. Well, we actually already got some first clients very quickly.
You told me that you started this product with your co-founder, and how did you find your co-founder?
Well, my co-founder Simon used to be an affiliate from the company that I used to work for, where I was an employee. And I was his affiliate manager. So I've known him for more than 10 years already. And we became friends, like in the process. Even after I quit that job, we still remained friends. And then at some point it was like, hey, how about we start a business together?
By the way, if you want to get more frameworks on how to build your AI business, real workshops and insights from founders who made that, click like and subscribe. Can you tell me just a bit more about your product and how did you manage to create a kind of MVP? Because as far as I understand, this is a service business, but how did you come up to something like that?
Well, the funny thing was that we actually started before there was a company, before there was even a logo or a company name. So I sold a project to Dutch government. That was the first one. The thing is that after I sold it, well, not really sold it, but I sold the idea, and they said, well, let's ask them for a quote. So I was like, okay. This is the point that we need to kind of have a name, have a logo, have a website. So it all went into like how do you say that? Well, it accelerated. And actually the name that we came up with back then and just used for that one project, it's not the name anymore right now. So it wasn't Ramen AI. But we really had to come up with something quickly to just look professional, right? So that's what we did.
What was the process of validation your idea, and when you did you get this like aha moment? This is what we really love to do, and we can do that.
Yeah, that's a good question, because for the validation, we always had in our minds that we need to multiple things at the same time. Actually, multiple kind of businesses just fail fast, right? And this was one of them, because we were also doing funnel supply. We were also thinking of a subscription, another subscription product, of making a SaaS, for example. Not a very concrete idea yet. But it started to click that this is going to work after I did a couple of sales calls, and it was super easy because people were seeing the value of this because it was so clear. Because, well, for example, what we did before with marketing, I sometimes say like you're selling just in Dutch we have this saying, you're selling baked air or cooked air. It's just some kind of bullshit usually, and about, yeah, you're gonna have this much clicks or this much conversions, but you never know, right? So you will just have to see. So you're asking the client, just throw in a couple K and we will see what we can do. And in this case it's very different because you're telling them, okay, show me how do you do this process? How does it work? Show me the process. How much time does it cost? Oh, well, it cost me 2 hours per week. All right, so all that time will be automated. And this is going to be the result. Calculate that back to the hourly price, for example, the hourly rate, and you will know what you're like saving on a month, on a monthly, on a yearly base. It's very concrete, so it makes it easier to sell. And besides that, there's the hype. There's a bit of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. They see that their competitors are doing stuff with AI. So yeah, need to catch up.
If you want to get more insights and cheat codes about the AI business, follow me on Telegram and Tix. I share tons of them there. Links in the description. Gotcha, great. And so basically your marketing strategy is to talk with people and try to find what is the business routine are they doing and how you can help them save time and money with AI. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's usually the point. For there's kind of two types of clients that are coming to us. One exactly knows what they need, so they want to have us build a chatbot or a specific workflow needs to be automated. We just make a proposal for them and we start working on it. The other type of client comes to us and says, I want to know what we can do and what should we do first, right? And which kind of workflow automations make sense for our business? How much time is it going to save? For them, we do, it's what we call discovery audit. We go into the company, do interviews with C-level. Next is with the people who are actually doing the manual work to fully understand the whole process. Then we come up with a roadmap for them with the projects on it. Like, well, we should, we recommend you to start with this project first, the low-hanging fruit, and go from there. That's kind of the approach there.
Awesome, great, nice. And basically at the beginning you are selling some kind of like a starting pack, and then you're just doing an upsell, or how does it work?
For the discovery audits, that's true, yeah. We ask a couple K for the audit, but then we also tell them, like, if you spend this amount on automations that you let us build, that's around 20, 30K, something like that, then we deduct the price of the audit.
I think this is one of the most interesting questions that our audience is awaiting. How did you manage to land your first 100 paying customers, or 10, or I don't know?
The first bunch of customers came from my own network, actually, just because I've been working at a couple of companies, but also in government. So actually the first one, like I told you before, was from government. It was the Ministry of Economic Affairs that we did quite a big project for. And there's maybe some more projects coming from there as well. But also just from, my network in general. And then at some point, well, that was going okay, but there was not really a huge acceleration in leads or something. And then at some point, I got into contact with a big YouTuber who has quite a big following, who is doing videos about AI, about data science, in that corner, so to say. And we made a deal with him, a rev share deal. Well, his company doesn't really build much. They are more into consulting. And we are, of course, into both. We consult and we build. So he sends us leads. And that's been going, well, pretty amazing. We get a lot of leads from him, so that's definitely where the first bunch of leads is coming from. But now we're also building on LinkedIn, just to build my authority there, and that's all personal branding. And through outreach, cold outreach there in the DMs, we're gonna start with cold calling as well, cold emailing. We just need to have like a broader variety of channels where leads are coming from, just to be also for safety.
Guys, if you want a step-by-step guide on how to build your AI B2B business from idea to marketing, from no-code tools to AI prompts for vibe coding, just open link in the description and grab this free 50-page playbook. What are your sales and marketing cheat code that you can share with the audience?
That's a good one. I think the funny thing is that I have never been into sales before. I'm not a sales guy, but I am doing sales right now because I have to, right? I mean, we don't have a sales guy. In the meantime, the number of leads that turn into clients seems to be, because I don't know anything about benchmarks, but that's what I hear, is quite impressive. So that's really cool, of course. It also has to do with that we get inbound leads from this rev share deal that we have. But still, they say that it's pretty good. So I'm happy with that, to hear that. And I think the thing is, I'm a good listener. A lot of salespeople tend to talk a lot because they want to share their story. They want to tell people what they built. But I also come from marketing. So I can listen pretty well to what the problem is. And I know how to communicate the solution. I think because of my marketing background, I was always busy with creating banners, creating ads, copywriting in a way that it's persuasive, that it's focused on problem solution, so that is wired in my brain. So if I talk to someone and I want to sell them something, I'm also talking in the same way as that I would build a landing page, for example, right? So I'm looking for where is the problem and how can I come up with a solution for that, and tell them about the benefits of it, and not so much about the technical details. For example, a lot of business owners, they don't care about if you're hosting it on DigitalOcean or using Redis for cache or using Cloud Code to create your Python code. They just want a solution and they want to have their problem fixed, right? I think if you understand that and you talk in that way, it works better. But I mean, I'm not the expert. I'm not the sales guy. I just do what feels right. And I like to help people with solving their problems. And that seems to work quite well.
What tech stack are you using to build products and AI automation flows for your customers?
Well, what we do is, first I should explain the way that we develop, because it's definitely not the standard, let's say, old school development agency way that we do it. We don't code ourselves. We don't write the code. We use Cloud Code to do almost all of the coding. And then also the framework for building an application, for example, or a chatbot or an automation is very different, because we kind of work with blueprints. And the blueprint contains everything that the agent that we use to code needs to understand what it should build. And that is absolutely not like writing a page of one-pager prompt or whatever. It's like it gets more content when we're running it as well, because we make these things self-learning a lot of the times, because we have to, because it needs to self-improve, and it keeps adding context to the kind of the blueprint, so to say. We built that with Cloud Code. That's what we use a lot. We write a lot in Python. We do sometimes use Redis for cache. We use DigitalOcean VPS to host it. The cool thing is also that we don't need a team of like 10 different developers with different expertise, like one JavaScript, ASP.NET, PHP, or whatever. We can just ask for requirements from a client, and we can do almost anything because we can code with AI, right? And that makes it very flexible for us, and also makes it that we don't need a huge team for it. The most important thing for our developers is to be a good architect. Not so much the understanding a specific code language very well. They need to be a good architect and understand which pieces are needed in an application to make it more advanced, instead of just, well, what you see on LinkedIn a lot, all these drag and drop N8N automations for marketing and sales. But besides that, we usually focus a lot more on core processes, right? And to make custom automations, custom AI tools. But there's so much more than just connecting a couple of systems to each other, right? There's also, for example, security, legal stuff that you need to take into account, guardrails that you need to insert into a chatbot, for example. So that's all architecture, which makes the product so much better. And that's where, that's a large part of the task of our developers.
What service, business, or AI SaaS ideas can you share that our audience could start building tomorrow?
Well, let's say me or another marketer writing it or creating it. And then if that could be like an integrated tool that connects your LinkedIn with your email outreach and your cold calling, for example, that would be perfect, because then someone receives a connection request on LinkedIn, right? They accept it. They're somewhere in your brain. You send them an email 2 days later. They see it, and then it's like, hey, it's that guy from LinkedIn. And then 2 days after that, you send them, or you just call them, and it's like, hey, thanks for accepting my connection request on LinkedIn. Did you see my email? And then the ice is already broken a little bit more than when you would just like cold call. At some point, we're going to get there that this whole process is going to be automated. Even the call is going to be automated. And there are absolutely already a lot of automations that do this exactly. But the level of quality, doubtful.
Okay, great. I love this idea. And as far as I understand, so you want kind of a vector database where you can upload your knowledge. You want to have like a trend database and kind of AI agent that will grab data and make a post on your LinkedIn, on your email, and all these kind of things, right?
Yeah, so it's like a fully automated marketing employee, which is an agent. Of course, that would be nice for any company. But yeah, it's close, but it's not there yet to match the quality of a real human.
What is the most valuable business advice you can share with our audience?
What I would advise to do is don't focus on creating a beautiful looking website or a nice looking logo, because I made that mistake myself in the very beginning, even before Funnel Supply. I started with building my WordPress website and coming up with a logo, and even thinking, I'm glad I didn't do it, but thinking about printing business cards before I even had one client. That's not important. Even posting on LinkedIn, for example, and thinking that will help your blah, blah, blah long term. Yeah, sure, you can do that. But outreach. Start with outreach. Pick up the phone. That's even best. But it's the most, can be kind of anxious thing or stressful thing, because not many people like calling, especially developers, I think, are a bit more less outgoing. But you have to do it. Pick up the phone. Call people in your network that you know, kind of, maybe some relations from friends or whatever, who told you, hey, maybe he will like your product or your service. And just start. You don't even need to have like a fully planned offer, or if it's a service business, just start calling and start asking about what is a problem I can fix in your area. So in my case, that would be, what are the things that you're pushing forward to the next week all the time because you don't like doing it, and it's repetitive work, for example. If they start talking, I can start hooking into that and things they say, and I'm like, oh, but you can automate that and that, and did you ever think of blah blah blah? And you're in a conversation already, and they might just say like, well, let's give it a try. And once you've done that, so you started calling, always start small, because make it easy for them to say yes, right? If you're coming up to them with, okay, so then we're going to build this for you and it's 50K. Yeah, then it's like, think about it and I will call you back next week maybe. And they don't do it. So start small with something that you can have as an intro offer. That's the typical way to do it, I think. An intro offer, 2K, 3K, 4K, something like that. Just to give them a taste of what you're doing. Maybe you can even give something for free if you're just starting, because that also works really well. Most of the time you just give. And there's this psychological mechanism that will work in your favor, that people tend to give something back. That's also a marketing mechanism that they use a lot, right? On websites and stuff, they give you some free stuff, and then you are more prone to do something back or to buy something from them. So that's how it works in sales as well, I think. And that could definitely work in your favor.
Great. Thank you, Niels, for this valuable advice, and very, very much thank you for this great interview. Now, do you know what's killing most micro SaaS and AI businesses? Information overwhelm. That's why people get stuck before they even start. But this is not even the worst part. Instead of building your actual product, you waste months setting up Stripe payments, designing landing pages, configuring emails, optimizing SEO, adding meta tags, creating sitemaps, setting up blocks, managing databases, building user auths, designing user profiles, and fixing infinitive bugs. That's why most people give up. But I've been through this pain 15 times. I spent hundreds of hours on these repetitive tasks, but I knew there had to be a better way. So I built the Micro SaaS Fast Starter Kit, a complete SaaS starter kit that helped me launch 3 successful projects, making over $10,000 already. That's why I'm sharing this with you now. But here's the twist. You don't need to waste months building basic features that are already done. And you don't need to spend weeks overthinking about minimum feature set for a quick launch. 1 week with my ready-to-use infrastructure, and you can start making money from your micro SaaS today. Keep in mind that you should never rely on one chick. That's why your startup is your chicks, and you are the pimp. Link in the description. See you.